All right. So welcome to tonight's Borough Council Candidate Forum. Let me pull up my notes because I had all of my other things up to run while we waited for us all to show up. So there we go. So hello and welcome to tonight's Borough Council Candidate Forum. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Sarah Mayacher, branch manager of Sharpsburg Community Library, and I will be acting as the moderator this evening. The library's STEAM coordinator, Erin Thompson, will be serving as our timekeeper and tech support. Sharpsburg Community Library is a branch of Cooper-Siegel Community Library, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Neither Erin nor I are residents or employees of the borough of Sharpsburg, and this event was planned solely by me. Candidates are logged into Zoom, which Erin will be monitoring throughout the evening. Residents are watching this forum as a live stream on YouTube. We have enabled Zoom's live captioning feature tonight, but please note that there is room for error in this transcription service. The video will be available to watch on YouTube next week, and any resident without computer or internet access will be able to watch it at the library during regular operating hours. To get started, I'm just going to run through the guidelines that I sent to our candidates earlier this week, and then we will do introductions. So tonight is not a debate. It is a forum. Candidates will not engage with one another. They will be asked a question by me, the moderator, and respond to that question only. Candidates will be muted when it is not their turn to speak. Candidates may also be muted if they go over time, if they go broadly off topic. For example, if I ask a question about Riverfront 47 and a candidate decides to tell me about ballpark infrastructure, if a candidate uses their time to verbally attack another candidate or candidates, or if they use incendiary language such as slurs or swearing. Candidates were sent a list of possible topics earlier this week, and they have no knowledge of the specific questions that I will be asking tonight. Candidates will each receive a 2-minute introduction during which they will state their name, the length of their possible term, whether it's a 2-year or 4-year seat, their political affiliation currently and in the past if it varies, and give a short speech about why they're running for their position and any related previous experience. During the Q&A section, candidates will receive 1 minute to respond to the questions. And at the end, candidates will receive 1 minute and 30 seconds to tell voters why they should vote for them. So now we will give each candidate 2 minutes to introduce themselves. We will be going in alphabetical order by last name, starting with Sarah Ishman. Please state your name as it will appear on the ballot, whether you are running for a 2 or 4-year council term, your political affiliation current and past if they vary, and tell us why you are running for council now and about any related previous experience.
Great, thank you. First of all, thank you so much to Sarah and Erin at the library for organizing this event. I know it was no easy task to get this many people in one virtual place. Hello to everyone listening. My name is Sarah Ishman, and I am running for the 2-year seat on council. I'm a Democrat, always been registered as a Democrat. I lived in Sharpsburg for almost 10 years since I bought my home here in 2011. I'm running for council because I want to help our borough. I love the people here. All of us here running love Sharpsburg, and the secret's out about our town as Sharpsburg is getting even more popular. And it can be hard to balance taking care of longtime residents while welcoming our new neighbors. I can bring a few things to council. One is service. I've spent a lot of time volunteering with churches, and I am also a part of tech organizations in the city. I want to give back and show up with my time. I'm also not doing it for the money. I will take the stipend we get serving and give it back to the community. One idea I had was to use that money to buy a concrete mixer and set up a tool rental program to help residents with the most damaged sidewalks rebuild. I'd work closely with Lou and the code enforcement department, but I'm a DIY kind of person and I want to help residents bring it back up to code. Another thing I would bring to council is my work experience. I'm a product manager with a self-driving car company called Motional. I have to learn the nitty-gritty and get into the details about things that are new to me all the time. I'm not a software engineer, but I have to learn to speak their language pretty quickly so that I can help them do their job. What I mostly do is talk to their customers about what they want to see and what's most important to them, and then I prioritize those requests. I think a council person should operate in a similar way. We should be fact finders, we should be listeners, and we should not go with our guts. All of you listening tonight are fact finders and trying to learn more about us and our vision for this town. So if you aren't just going with your gut, why should your council person? I'm running for council because I love this town and I believe I can make a positive impact. Looking forward to working with anyone here. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from Brian Kozera. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly, Brian?
Okay, yes. Thank you. My name is Brian Kozera. I'm a Democrat. I'm running for the 4-year seat for Sharpsburg Borough. I'm a father of 3 boys. I also have a stepson that's a senior at Shadyside Academy and a stepdaughter that's at Fox Chapel, freshman. Been living in Sharpsburg for over 10 years. I was born and raised in O'Hara Township, right off Canyon Pike, close enough to be a Sharpsburg resident. Been a volunteer firefighter for over 35 years, serving this community as well as O'Hara. Also volunteer my time with the newly formed Lower Allegheny Valley Church. Most of the time was spent at St. Joseph's Church. Previous experience was with O'Hara Township Council for 6 years. During that time, I was also vice president of council. Main reason why I'm running is dedicating my time. I have more time now since my kids are grown. Don't have to focus on being at sporting events, getting them to and from school. I have the availability and the time and the effort to put into this community. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we will hear from Karen Pastor. Oh, you are still muted, Karen. Hold on one second. Did we unmute Karen, Aaron?
It only says ask to unmute. I can't actually unmute people, but it looks like Karen is unmuted now.
Okay, sorry about that, Karen. Please introduce yourself.
It's okay. Thanks, Sarah. And thank you for putting this together. It's very much appreciated by all of us. My name is Karen Pastor. I am running for the 4-year term on council. I am a Democrat and have been my whole life. I was born and raised in Sharpsburg, left for a little while and came back. My daughter and my 2 grandsons also live here. I'm decided to run for council because in the past 12 years as a council member, I believe I've contributed to many important decisions that were part of the growth and progress we've made. A few of those would include a changeover from a borough secretary position to a borough manager, which is one of the best decisions we ever made, not as the person, but as the position. Represented our borough and worked with team leaders from Etna and Millville on our comprehensive plan, which had not been updated in 50 years, and also worked with Etna and Millville on updating our zoning map. I participated in negotiations when closing our water plant and retaining Hampton Shaler Water Authority and appointing a new police chief a few years back. I will continue to carefully listen to the concerns of our residents and act in their best interest. I will also listen to and respect the opinions of my fellow council members on all issues, as sometimes their perspective helps make a difficult decision easier. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Taylor, I'm afraid I don't know how to pronounce your last name, so please introduce yourself, Taylor. Let us unmute you, and we will get started.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, fantastic. Peasy. It's a lot of useless letters. It's Polish. Don't worry about it. Nobody ever gets it right. I've been in the borough for 14 years. I'm a registered Democrat. I have 0 political experience other than attending pretty much every borough meeting over the last 10 years or so. I basically grew up in the borough. Like I said, I've been here for 14 years. Last year, I bought the house that I grew up in with my mother. I helped raise a stepdaughter in the borough. Like I said, I have zero political experience. I'd like to help make decisions that matter in the borough. As far as things I've done here, I've been a fireman in the borough for about 8 years. I'm a lieutenant with the fire department. It's one of the leadership roles here. I have to work with members of the fire department from other communities who happen to be also members of their fire departments, including Councilman Kozera or Councilman candidate Kozera and Councilman candidate Passer. Other than that, that's just about me. Like I said, I'm just looking to help the community move forward.
Great, thank you. Next, we will hear an introduction from Kayla Portis. Just wait to be unmuted.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, thank you, Sarah. My name is Kayla Portis. I'm running for the 4-year seat. I am a Democrat. In February of this year, I was appointed to fill a vacated council seat. I would love to continue to serve. I decided to run for election to represent everyone in Sharpsburg equally and fairly, to make sure that everyone's voice is heard. Unfortunately, African-American residents have felt like in the past their voices have really not been heard by borough officials. So therefore, I thought that, running would help. Representation is, very important. I've lived here in Sharpsburg almost my whole life for 30 years. I enjoy volunteering at the community garden right behind the library. My family is involved and, it's fun. It gets, the residents involved. It's something to do and, it's healthy. And also, our veterans are very important to me. I have a lot of family that are veterans. We have a lot of residents that are veterans. So I always help any way that I can. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we will hear from Carrie, and we'll have one more person after that. So just wait to be unmuted.
I believe I'm unmuted, but you can confirm. Okay, great. Hello, everyone. My name is Carrie Tongarm. My pronouns are she, her, and I am excited about this opportunity. Tremendous gratitude to Sarah and everyone at the library who's helped put this together. This was something that was desperately needed by the community, and thank you to everybody who's watching tonight. This level of engagement in an election, in a local election, I'm told, is unprecedented. So this is terrific. Keep engaging, keep asking questions, keep participating, keep asking more of us. This is why we're here to serve. Why am I running for office? Much like Kayla, I feel like I've been, I'd like have the ability to represent some voices that may not have had the opportunity to be heard before. I am a trained listener. My profession as an attorney allows me to see any issue from multiple angles. That is literally what I'm trained to do. And I have an ear. I will listen. I want to hear from everyone. This community has such a deep, rich history, and the foundations are strong and tremendous. And I want to be in a position to help the community grow and help the community build upon those foundations. I'd like to find a way to restore the sense of community where, folks say hi to each other on the street. I've lived on Clifton Avenue here for almost 4 years now, and I live here with my wife and 3 kids. And I know a handful of my neighbors, but I don't know all of them. And, I want to get to a place where we all know each other and we care about each other. And, the issues that I'm having are the same issues that, Brad is having, or that Kayla's having, or that Taylor's having, and that we can all work together to solve the real issues in the community. So I'm excited. I have 3 kids. I'm raising 3 future lifetime Sharpsburgers. I want this community to be a place my kids are proud of, that, one day they'll want to live here. My grandkids will live here. And also have 3 dogs. You can probably see them walking around in the background. doing something that I can't stop them from doing right now. But I just appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this community, to be someone who is being considered to help.
Sorry, Carrie, we hit time.
All right. And last but not least, Brad Truman.
Looks like I'm unmuted, eh? All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And certainly I'll echo the thanks to you, Sarah, and Aaron for putting together a great little event here. I am a Democrat. I'm running for the 4-year seat here. I do not have any past political experience aside from the prior year over which I'd served as the zoning, planning, and code chair. I'm someone that just is too energetic to not want to be involved and engaged. And in this particular instance, this is relevant to Sharpsburg. When I moved here 3 years ago, I immediately started attending borough meetings. And it is through that kind of attendance at borough meetings and volunteering throughout the community that put me in front of enough people to be selected for a vacated seat back at the end of 19. The term that I started serving was as of Jan 20. It has been that experience as the zoning, planning, code chair that has really taught me something I didn't expect, frankly. I just did not really appreciate prior to that appointment the level of impact and importance that local government has in a small community like Sharpsburg. And so it was kind of that newfound appreciation and understanding of the importance of local government that really propelled my my desire to run for re-election. I've only been here for 3 years, as I've noted, and I tell everyone about this place. My parents are trying to buy here. They see it through my eyes that this is an incredible place. I think that my short tenure actually, compared to most here, is somewhat of a fresh set of eyes. And I do think that that is an asset as it relates to viewing challenges and opportunities for Sharpsburg.
And that is unfortunately time. We have a lot to cover and not enough time to cover as much as we would like. So with that, with all of our introductions completed, we will be moving into our question and answer section. So for each question, you will have 1 minute to respond to the question. And I realize that does not give us much time to get into specifics. So please be as clear as possible in that allotted 1 minute time frame. As a reminder, we ask you that your response focus on your plan, your opinion, or your past action. Please do not focus on those of your fellow candidates. I will note before the question if it comes from the submission form that we had up earlier, or if I drafted it myself. For each question, we will be rotating the start. So our first question will start with Mr. Kozera. We'll walk down the line, and then for the subsequent question, we'll go to Ms. Pastor and on and on. So everyone will get a chance to be the first respondent to at least one of the questions tonight. So our first question is about the Riverfront 47 development. This is a question that was submitted to us on the online form. And the question is, originally, the Riverfront 47 proposal called for office buildings, but the pandemic has changed the need for office space. What will you do if the Riverfront 47 developers try to place more than the original 750 housing units in town, or if they will not develop mixed income? We'll start with you, Mr. Kozera. You get 1 minute.
I would like to see more green space, more ballparks. Wester's doing it. They have a ballpark, soccer fields. There's no reason why some of that cannot be incorporated into 47. You're correct. Office space is not needed anymore. It's decreasing in the city of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. We need to hold their hand to the fire as far as housing development. We need to work with them and make sure they're being respectful to the community as it is and moving forward.
Thank you for being so succinct. Ms. Pastor, the same question.
Karen,
You're not unmuted, Karen. You're still on mute.
Better?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I don't know why we're having some issues with if you're muting specifically.
I had to unmute myself too before starting.
I think we all have control to unmute ourselves just for future.
Yes, because I actually cannot unmute anyone. I can ask you to unmute, but I cannot unmute you. So.
Okay. The Riverfront project, it started approximately 5 years ago, and it's still in the very beginning stages. 3 of our council members meet with Riverfront 47 every council is constantly aware of any new updates. Very clear that they need to do that. We do have some control of that. Affordable housing.
Karen, I think you're cutting out. You were frozen on my screen, at least.
Did you lose me?
We did, but you're back. You were cutting in and out that whole time. So, Aaron, in the manner of fairness, we're going to let you restart that whole question. So just tell us in a minute your thought on Riverfront 47. What will you do if they try to increase housing and not mixed income development?
And what I was saying is that this has been going on for 5 years and it's still at the beginning stages. 3 of our council members meet every 2 weeks, I believe, to make sure that we are constantly kept updated on any new developments. I don't believe that they know what they want to do right now, but I personally will push, as I'm sure others will, that we get the affordable housing on that project, but that remains to be seen. We absolutely want it to be successful, but not at the expense of our residents. Case in point, the turning lane at 19th Street that will eliminate parking spaces. The council and the residents in that area conveyed their concerns, and Riverfront 47 is working on a solution. We are currently working on a developer's agreement that needs to be put in place to protect the borough once the work begins, but nothing can move forward right now until that agreement is signed. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for bearing with our technical issues there. We'll hear the same question. Mr. Pecze, am I getting that right this time?
Yeah, that's correct. Can you hear me this time? Okay. Definitely, it's going to take a lot of work to get the Riverfront 47 project, let's call it, taken care of. I agree with Brian. There does need to be some green space. A park on the larger size would be nice back there. Definitely some affordable housing, legitimate affordable housing that people can actually afford. And I think that there definitely needs to be some commercial business back there, obviously, to keep the tax revenue up. Other than that, like I said, it's still a long way down the road to, as far as I've seen, going to borough meetings to getting that finished and taken care of. So as for right now, that'd be my wish list, is to get, like I said, a rather large parks, and commercial business, and actual affordable housing.
Great, thank you. Ms. Portis, same question. Riverfront 47, what would you do with the development?
I definitely agree about the affordable housing. That has definitely been a concern of the residents. Also, maybe something youth oriented, like a community center that could be used. And also access for all, to the trail down there. And, flooding is, such a huge issue. So, something to help with, the stormwater down there.
Great. I love that we're all keeping to a minute. Ms. Tongarm, your thoughts on Riverfront 47 and
I broke the streak for sticking to a minute, Sarah. So I'm going to break it. No, I'm just kidding. So I've been following the R47 project for quite some time now, and I agree with everything that's been said. I agree 100% with Brian and with Taylor, and I appreciate, Karen, that you've had the benefit of being on council for 5 years to shepherd the first parts of this through. I think the important thing to remember is it is still in development. The design and planning phase is still happening. And there will be significant amount of resident input before anything happens. I think that if they try to kind of bait and switch, show us one plan and do something else, that's not going to fly. There's certain levels of controls that Borough Council has, some don't. The PennDOT project, for example, the turning lane, that's a PennDOT mandate. That's not something that's necessarily within the borough's control. But what is in the borough's control is making sure that before anything happens, the concerns of the residents are met. Rodent control, pest control when they're doing construction, green infrastructure, sewer tie-ins. I'm a real estate attorney with a specialization in environmental law. I'm very familiar with the environmental permits they've applied for, and I'm very interested in keeping them accountable to developing in a responsible way. That's my dog.
That's time. Mr. Truman, your thoughts on Riverfront 47?
So as it relates to the affordable housing component, and I am speaking as a uniquely positioned council member that is one of those three that Karen referenced, I do meet bi-weekly with the developers to talk through all manner of items. Affordable housing is a key component of this development. That I don't know how that would manage to get passed without an outrage. So I'm going to say that will not happen. Community housing, affordable community housing, is a vital component of this, period. Furthermore, of that land acreage that is allocated currently for the mixed use and residential units, it is a tiny sliver of acreage relative to the overall proportion of the park. There are years of stages of development. And to that degree, I would say there's a huge list of like to haves that is that are likely to be implemented into this.
That's time, unfortunately. And lastly, we'll hear from Ms. Ishman on the Riverfront 47 development.
Yes, thank you. I want to support the R47 project. It could be great for our community, but currently I have more questions than I do answers about this project, and I can't support it until those questions are answered. I did hear that COVID dramatically shifted their plans for development, so I need to know their new definite plans. They're moving away from the office space to the more residential. It absolutely needs to include affordable housing units, echoing what everyone said. And but I know that residential units decrease the traffic expected by 33%, according to the traffic study. I'm one of the people that spoke up at council to publish the traffic study and make it more accessible, and now it is. If the anticipated traffic decreases by 33%, do we still need a signal? Do we need a dedicated turning lane? Do we need a new traffic study? I also want the developer's agreement to be made public with sufficient time to study it. I also want to make sure there's provisions in there for rodent control. We need to know where the parking is relocated and if there's going to be enough spots to support the people that live there. I will be the kind of council person that chases down these things and finds out the facts. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone for your thoughts on Riverfront 47. We'll be moving on to our second question, and the first person who will respond to this question will be Ms. Pastor. And this question follows along with business and affordable housing. And this is also a submission from our form. As new and trendy businesses have opened in town, rents and home prices have skyrocketed. What are your plans to help the community be affordable while continuing to attract new businesses?
The current housing situation in Sharpsburg is not good, except for those that are selling their properties. Housing prices are out of control, as is the cost to rent. Houses selling for $300,000, rentals over $1,000 a month. I'd love for my daughter and my grandkids to buy a house and stay in Sharpsburg. And even with me helping her at this point, it's not affordable, and I don't know if it ever will be. Rent control is something that has been mentioned, but there are only 3 states in the US that allow rent control, and that's Maryland, New York, and New Jersey, and it only applies to certain apartments. So that probably is something that will never happen. I'm not sure. A good friend of mine, her and I were talking about this recently, and she stated she believes it all comes down to greed. And I have to agree with her, and I'm not sure how you combat greed. So truth be told, I don't have an answer for this question, but I want to live up. I think that we need to live up to the motto, Sharpsburg is for everybody, and find a way to work together to make, something happen, to keep this place a livable place for everyone.
That's time. Mr. Pecze, your thoughts on balancing new businesses and maintaining affordable housing in what is a swiftly gentrifying borough?
The whole affordable housing thing is a big problem in the borough. It is. Honestly, I know it's not what everybody wants to hear, but I mean, it is what it is. People are going to charge what they want to charge for their property. I mean, and there's really not much the borough can do about it except try to keep the taxes low and possibly take some of the burden off, when it comes to tax time. Like I said, I know it's not what people want to hear, but unfortunately, again, like Karen said, it comes down to greed. People are going to charge what they want to charge for their property. Like I said, the council's biggest priority is going to have to be to find some way to keep other things priced properly instead of, just here's a house, pay all these taxes. But like I said, I know it's not what people want to hear, but it is what it is.
Thank you. Ms. Portis, same question.
I am with Karen. I mean, I'm not really sure what the answer is. I mean, I would love to work together to find a solution. As far as, small businesses, I would like, to see businesses, oriented to our seniors that, they could walk down the street. We used to have, several meat markets, and that was really good, for them. Not only for them, it was good for the whole community. But yeah, really, I agree with Taylor as well. I really don't know what the answer is, like I stated before, but working together, maybe we could find some type of solution.
Thank you. Sorry, I have to check my alphabetical list here. I believe Ms. Tongarm is next.
I'm setting a timer. All right. So this is a great question. And as we've been walking around knocking doors, this is something that's on everybody's mind, 100%. Affordable housing, affordable rents. So a couple of things, as Karen mentioned, rent control is illegal in Pennsylvania. It is not something that is a possibility. And we do have a lot of families and seniors who are struggling to live in this town that they maybe grew up in or have family in. So it is a big issue. Couple of thoughts that I have, again, not a total solution, but working with organizations such as Action Housing to work on affordable development. So when there are developments and opportunity for development, such as R47, that will include an affordable housing element. Also, creating financial stability and financial security, first-time home buyer workshops, supporting Roots of Faith in their efforts to help folks with financial empowerment programs. Oh man, that was the timer. All right, that's a lot, but I have other ideas too, so stay tuned.
Thank you. Mr. Truman, same question.
Sure. So I personally would love to see more of the vacant storefronts filled. I think that would be an advantage to us all. Now that comes with a caveat, I suppose. I mean, you want them to be affordable. You want them to be things that people want, things that are family friendly. You don't want it to turn into a Lawrenceville. I hate to point that way, but I coming straight from Lawrenceville most recently, I don't want it to become a Lawrenceville. As far as affordable housing is concerned, Carrie mentioned the Action Housing, who are tightly wound into the Riverfront 47 project. They are also doing other work with developments that are affordable in Sharpsburg. Also, too, to add to that is the City of Bridges Community Land Trust. There are a few houses in the land trust that provide an affordable house for, well, not as many as there should be, but we're trying to make houses affordable through the City of Bridges Land Trust.
That's time. Ms. Ishman, same question. Balancing new businesses with affordability in town.
Yeah, for sure. This one is a hot topic right now. I know everyone's property values are much higher, but that usually means that anything you can move into near the city is also unaffordable, and probably not in Sharpsburg since there are very few houses on the market right now. There's a few programs that can help with this, and I think it's council's job to help connect people to these programs. We can be resources for the community. Brad mentioned some of these, but the City of Bridges Community Land Trust offers a $35K grant that stays with the house to make the unit affordable and remain affordable. There's other options like Action Housing. Currently, there's COVID utilities assistance. We can connect people with that. The HUD waiting list opens up Monday, May 10th for units in Sharpsburg. And as a council person, I would work to make information like this available and accessible and work with organizations like Action Housing and City of Bridges to get even more options for our residents here. We can leverage our position as council members to take our concerns to our PA state rep, Sarah Murato, and ask her to consider advocating for a rent percentage increase cap. Thank you.
Thank you. And last respondent on this question will be Mr. Kozera.
Yes, well, Carrie, Brad, Sarah, Taylor, you all bought your houses over the last 3, 5, 10 years. Get it reappraised. I can guarantee you're going to double or triple roughly what you paid for it. Yeah, probably shaking your head. What do you think a lot of people are doing today? People that bought their houses 10 years ago fall right back to Karen greed. They're making money off it. They're selling. They're leaving. People are coming and buying the houses and renting it out to make a profit and also to pay that mortgage. Refinancing is low right now, so people are buying, refinancing their houses and updating windows, doors, whatever needs to be done in their houses, renting it out. So it's going to be a difficult task to get these agencies to help out when people are paying the higher mortgages. It's going to be a difficult task. The market's dictating a lot of things right now. We're in an unfortunate situation where Brad came from Lawrenceville. It's bleeding over this way. It's happening. We're landlocked with asphalt. Asphalt has always been a high market area. It's happening in Sharpsburg.
That's time. So we'll move on to our third question. This question will begin with Mr. Pecze and work around the same way that it's been. So this question is going to be about infrastructure. This is the topic that we receive the most questions on. So I've sort of combined all of these questions into one broad question about infrastructure. So with deteriorating playground equipment, a neglected ballpark, and crumbling sidewalks, what infrastructure projects would you prioritize if you were on council?
As far as the parks and things, as far as I know, most of that's already being taken care of with grants and donations and things of that nature. Some of the streets, let's be honest, definitely need paved, taken care of. 15th Street is being done right now. Some people are unhappy about it. I'm sure everybody's seen on Facebook. But it is what it is. There's grants coming in for Main Street. There's things are being done. Some of the attention needs paid towards the back streets, like Penn, where I live. There's South Canal has a lot of holes in it right now. North Canal has a lot of holes. It's just a lot of things need taken care of, and it's just a matter of finding the money.
Thank you. Ms. Portis, what infrastructure projects would you prioritize?
Well, the playgrounds, Hines Memorial Park, I mean, it's not being used to its fullest potential. That has also been a long-term concern among residents. Parts of the park have sat idle for years with nothing to really even attract any usage. As we all know, the roads and the sidewalks, they need improvement. But yeah, I mean, we need a lot of improvements. At the parks, I mean, at least, people will have more to do, especially Hines Memorial Park. There's, a nice walkway there. If, we could get that, leveled somehow, or so the seniors and, so everyone, can walk, could ride their bikes and stuff like that there. That would be nice.
Thank you. Ms. Tongarm, same question.
Timer, and I'm going to talk faster. Okay, so my highest priority of those three things, sidewalks, playgrounds, or ballparks, would absolutely be sidewalks. I have heard consistently on as I'm walking around talking to folks how the sidewalks are deplorable and dangerous in a lot of cases. So a couple of things. One, public sidewalks, like sidewalks that are within the control of the borough, Main Street, et cetera. As Taylor mentioned, there's often a lot of grants that are going to take care of pouring concrete and fixing those issues. But I think the bigger issues are the sidewalks that go up that are not under the borough's control. The sidewalks in front of your home are the responsibility of the homeowner. But I don't know about you, I don't have an extra 10 grand laying around to fix my sidewalk. So I think that finding a way to collectively get money for all of the residents who need to repair sidewalks and doing it in a collaborative and meaningful way, and so that we can get it to an economy of scale so that we can all afford it is really the key. This minute is killing me.
Mr. Truman, same question.
So may I have a point of clarification? You mentioned playground, sidewalks, and what else? Ballparks. Is that to keep it explicit on those? Because you said infrastructure.
Yes, so people specifically named those three things, but if you have a different infrastructure project that you would prioritize, tell us about that project.
Fair, then I'll go two parts as quick as I can. Sidewalks, undoubtedly, is number one. And there has been a residential sidewalk study done by a third party, so that is being thoroughly looked at. And there are the business district grants that Taylor mentioned. Those are set to address the sidewalks in the business district. Now, outside of sidewalks, I would say stormwater management is the infrastructure that I would be all over, and I think to an extent already am. The stormwater management, and that means managing uphill water as to not make it down to Sharpsburg, is where I would start with infrastructure. And again, those are things underway already too. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ishman, same question.
Sure. I'm hoping we cover stormwater management in greater detail later, but as far as infrastructure improvements go, there's several that I would like to tackle. I mentioned sidewalks in my opening remarks. I believe that we need to work together as a community to make them better. Even though it's the responsibility of the homeowner, we all benefit from them, and it makes our community more livable. I also want to improve our recreational areas. The borough does a great job of lawn maintenance and mulch replacement, but council needs to keep a close eye on when equipment needs to be replaced. We also need to publicize our public spaces better. We can rent out the spaces, generate money, bring people to our town, and we can make sure the Google Map pictures are up to date and accurate. We can also let the public know when we're going to turn on the fountain at 16th Street. And I've mentioned mentioning parking, but that's another thing I want to address. We should turn abandoned buildings into parking areas when possible, and we should work with businesses that have parking. We need to do a community survey to find out where all the issues are, and until we know them, we can't solve them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kozera, same question.
Yes, sidewalk, of course, is the main one, but for me, given my history and with O'Hara Township, there's a new pump house that was built on Saxonburg Boulevard, more development on Saxonburg Boulevard, sanitation line from Saxonburg Boulevard being pumped over Containing Pike, down over Dorseyville Road, down Containing Pike into Sharpsburg. There's going to be more development on Saxonburg Boulevard, more sanitation coming into Sharpsburg. We need to renegotiate with O'Hara Township and get more funding from them to take care of the interceptor that's down here in Sharpsburg. That's my main focus on part of stormwater management.
Thank you. And Ms. Pastor, last on this question.
We're currently in the process of replacing 10 new catch basins. I believe they're done with 4 and we have 6 to go. So that will help with some of the runoff water on the streets. Once they're all done, a company will come in to complete the ramps and sidewalks. I know that was a concern of someone. The playground equipment at Kennedy Park, both Kennedy Park and 16th Street Parks, is being replaced starting late June and early July. That playground, the playground equipment cost us, not us, was at a cost of $250,000. We received a grant for it and we had a private donation for the other half. I will admit that we need to start working on Heinz Memorial Field at 19th Street. We've neglected that. And I agree with Kayla, we need to make that a priority. Streetscape project in the business district, sidewalks, crosswalks, streeting lights, new trash receptors. That'll take place in late in July, August, hopefully. Bids for different parts of that project were just opened this past week. As Carrie said, resident sidewalks must be maintained by the homeowner, but maybe if enough of people got together that needed sidewalks, you could do a large group bid with a contractor, and he would, because of the how big it is, he would give a discount. So
that's time. Thank you. For our next question, the first respondent will be Ms. Portis, and we'll work our way around as we have. This is going to be on environment. So we've talked a little bit about stormwater management on this last question. This question comes from our form submission. Numerous environmental factors are impacting Sharpsburg, including air quality, flood management, and sustainability. What local environmental issues are important to you, and how will you address them as a member of council?
You're muted,
still
Kayla.
muted. Is library tech support able to prompt the unmute question potentially?
I cannot unmute. I can only ask to unmute, and I
Yeah,
asked.
that's what I meant, I guess. Just to try.
I don't know why it won't let you unmute. That's really wacky.
Is there another device you could sign in on, Kayla? And maybe we could just get back to her.
Right. Let's try one more time. And if you can't unmute, we will circle back to you. My apologies for this technical snafu. Still no good? Okay. Sorry about that. We will circle back to you. So instead, we will pivot to Ms. Tongarm. What do you feel is the most important local environmental issue, and how would you address that as council?
Sure, I would. I think I mean, it's hard to pick one, but flooding, I think, is a huge issue, especially with the catastrophic rainfall we've had from 2018 onward. 2018 saw 60 inches of rain, massive flooding and landslides throughout Allegheny County. I would say we need to work on finding green ways to have green infrastructure and stormwater management, as Brad alluded to, working with our other communities, such as our neighboring communities in Aspinwall, Etna, and upstream communities, communities that are, I'm so sorry about these dogs. We need a dog park. Anyway, and working on ways to manage stormwater before it comes into the borough. And finding ways for flood relief, because there are folks who just live in a floodplain. I am fortunate I'm on more towards the top of a hill, but I mean, most of the borough is in a floodplain. So finding ways to help support with floodplain management and with flood insurance rates, keeping those low. Those would be I would say, the primary, and making sure that the new development coming in does not contribute to excess overflow in the sewers.
That's time. Thank you. Mr. Truman, most important environmental issues.
I do believe it is stormwater management. Implementing as many uphill stopgaps as possible would go a long way to alleviating so many problems that Sharpsburgers experience when the rain is heavy. I would also add in there air quality. I think it's unfortunately known that we do not have excellent air quality here, and that is a far larger issue than I am able to speak to. But to the extent we are able to do anything, I am very interested in learning more. That's something I frankly don't have a huge background with. So I'm gonna have to leave it there.
Thank you. Ms. Ishman, same question.
Sure. Probably what a lot of people are going to say, but flood management, stormwater management for sure. And this problem will continue to take millions of dollars in effort by council. We need to keep working with other councils like O'Hara to find a solution for stormwater coming off the hill. Brittany, as council president, has spearheaded several efforts like this with the catch basin rework, as well as the most recent grant effort with O'Hara that was recommended by Connor Lamb to be approved. Just one of a few selected, or out of a small group selected. And this is not easy work, and grant writing is complicated, and I'm sure leadership would appreciate more help, and that's something I'm committed to doing as a council member. This problem doesn't have an easy solution, and it requires more than just showing up to meetings. It requires a lot of work. So hopefully throughout my answers, you can see I'm the kind of person that makes an effort to be well informed and show up, and I'll apply that energy to this problem as well and make sure we're addressing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kozera, same question.
Stormwater management. 1986, 2 inches of rain in 2 hours. Flooding down Sharpsburg Boulevard killed 7 people. Personal loss to me. 2004, 5 inches of rain in 1 day. Same thing, flooding. 2019, 2 inches of rain in under 2 hours. Flooding. No matter what you do upstream, when the storm circulates over us, you're not going to control the flooding. No matter what you do upstream, I was part of all 3 of these flooding events and many others in between. I was there. I've been there. You can only control so much. The $2.2 million to Connor Lamb has not been approved yet. It's being talked about. It's being presented. There's no guarantee it's going to happen. This has been a topic for well before 1986. All we can do is keep on trying, doing the best we can, and pray that we can, put something together that's going to work.
Thank you. Ms. Pastor, same question.
Okay, so definitely air is an issue in Sharpsburg. You know, we have a lot of air quality issues due to Route 28, the railroad, 2 main bus lines through here, lots of truck traffic, diesel fuel. And I agree with Brad. I don't know what the fix is. I don't know how you change that. Maybe put some sound barriers up on 28. Would that keep some of the air? Would that help the air quality? I don't know. It certainly would help help the noise. Maybe more trees. Definitely may plant more trees and reevaluate dredging of the creeks as far as the flooding.
You froze, so I'm not sure if you were done, Karen.
Say that again.
You froze on my end, so I wasn't sure if you were done. You cut out on, at least on my side. Perhaps I'm the one cutting out.
No, she's cut out and frozen for me as well.
Where did I leave off?
Trees with the air quality, like planting trees.
You guys are frozen to me.
It's definitely you, Karen.
Karen is
I didn't want to say it.
is gone. Is she back? Is she back? Okay. Erin, how would you like to proceed? Would you like to give Karen an extra 20 seconds due to technical difficulties?
That's about when she cut out for me. It was around 20 seconds. So.
Okay.
Am I back?
You are back. We're giving you
Okay.
20 seconds to
20 seconds. Plant more trees is definitely would be helpful. Sound barriers on 28. I don't know if I said that. Eco-friendly sound barriers, maybe for the flooding, you know, and there's, like Brian said, rain comes, there's not much we can do, but we can do things. Maybe reevaluate the dredging of our creeks if that's possible. You know, every little thing we do can only help, you know, can help a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pecze, your thoughts.
I'm glad we're all on the same page of at least one thing, which is the flooding, which is a serious problem. We can't continue to have people who own their homes have to pump out their basements every year when it rains a little bit. It is a major issue. Like Brian, I've been in it. I've been waist deep in the water clearing out the catch basins. It's probably the biggest air quality. Again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there's really not much that can be done about it. Yeah, you could, like Karen said, put up a sound barrier or a wall against 28 to try to keep some of the diesel fumes and stuff from coming down here. But I mean, again, it's another one of those things that it is what it is. The flooding, though, that's just going to be a matter of having to work with the Harris Township, because when we flood, as you've seen from Brittany's videos, who lives right on the pike, that's where the water comes from. It all comes down that hill. I mean, we're not getting it from Mass Wall or Etna. It's all coming right down the hill.
Thank you. Ms. Portis, let's try your sound again so you can answer the question.
Hello, I am back. Yes, we all definitely are in agreement that flooding is definitely a major issue. Flood insurance, the cost of flood insurance is just astronomical. It would be nice to get that down for some homeowners. You know, I've been a flood victim, you know, a few times, and, you know, it's just such a traumatic experience. And, you know, like it was mentioned before about, you know, homes being ruined, you know, Brian had mentioned people passing away. We definitely do need to work with O'Hara for this issue. Also, air quality, our air quality is poor, but Like Taylor said, I'm not sure really, what we could do about it. But once again, we need to work together and see what we can come up with for the betterment of Sharpsburg and our residents. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So since we had to skip Ms. Portis last time, we will start the question with Ms. Portis this time. And our question is about community building. This is a forum submission. And the question is, what will you do to bridge the gap between folks who have lived in Sharpsburg their entire lives and those who are new to the neighborhood? How will you work to ensure their voices are given equal weight when working through the issues? And we'll start, like I said, with Ms. Portis.
Community is so important. Everyone here, growing up, everyone, knew each other. Now, going down the street, you'd see new people that, you don't even know. So maybe some community events, at the parks, maybe, some concerts. Carrie had mentioned a dog park, that would be nice. Maybe some more events down at the community garden. I know that the chili cook-off, that was a big hit. But yeah, there's so many different things, that we could do, but those are just a few examples.
Great, thank you. Ms. Tongarm, same question. How will you make sure that lifelong residents and newcomers have equal weight?
Thanks. This is a great question. And this is something that I really am very interested in solving or working together to figure out. As we've been going around knocking doors, we're knocking doors of people who've just moved in. We're knocking doors of people who've lived there in that house for 40 years. And it's really interesting to hear the same comments from all residents, right? There's a sense of wanting community, wanting activities to participate in, wanting things for everyone to do. And I think that honestly, we all have the same issues, flooding and air quality, and all of these things are the same issues, whether you've lived here your whole life or whether you just moved here. We need to find ways to bring people together. And some of those ideas are community events that build community. So concerts, activities, festivals, bringing those back to Kennedy Park, finding ways for people to connect. Dog park. There are so many dogs in the borough. I have 3 of them. Dog park, way to connect. Timer.
Thank you. Mr. Truman, same question.
Yeah, so I, as a DJ and a music fanatic, go immediately to the outdoor events. And something that was said to me while I was door knocking was the need and sincere desire for a music event. That just somebody setting up, playing some music in the park for a couple hours on the weekend. Multi-generational. She made a point of saying, well, you got to have something for the kids too, but I'm Motown. So, I mean, a huge swath of music that I am uniquely positioned to provide. But that is one, and certainly it resonates with me, which is why I brought it up. But I think that there's a huge disconnect between the newspaper crowd and the Facebook crowd. And bridging those some way, somehow, is vital to bringing everyone together, whether that's meeting people where they are and going to the towers, whether that's making sure bingo is better advertised on Facebook. I think that there are ways that can be, you can stitch these two communities, I don't want to call it two communities, two groups within the community together in a really, really fruitful way. Those are the only real thoughts.
And that's time. Thank you. Ms. Ishman, same question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think to start with, of course, like everyone said, more community events. There'll be a few free concerts and performative art events this summer already that were mentioned in the last council meeting. So those are great ways to get people in the community out. Keep investing in our public spaces, make them more inviting to people to come hang out. Dog park was mentioned. There's a lot of ideas that involve public use spaces that we need to keep investing in. But I think one idea that would be really cool is to encourage a longtime resident to adopt a new Sharpsburger or vice versa, and partner people up that have lived here a long time and are pretty new. I really love meeting new people that You know, their dad was the police chief, and they're one of 6 Italian kids, and you know, neighbors across the street. Their dad, you know, built that house, and they're coming back to town for the first time. Like, I really love hearing those old stories. You know, I don't have so many of those stories. I'm relatively new, but I remember when Silkies used to be here, and I can tell a new person that.
That's time. Thank you. Mr. Kozera, same question.
Yeah, along the lines of everyone else, you know, instead of having the food trucks at the 2 brew houses, maybe get the food trucks down at the senior high rises and have events down that way, or have the food trucks over at Madonna's when the bingos start back up. Trying to intertwine the old ways of Sharpsburg with the new ways of what's going on. Getting the 2 different types of generations together, just not at Guy Suda Days, even though that's really not around anymore. Different events. I mean, yeah, you got the live bands, but you got the senior populations really not going to come out or can't make it to that area. So we got to take things to them in different parts of Sharpsburg, move it around. So we take it to them and bring out the people that's around them that's new to that area.
Great, thank you. And Ms. Pastor, same question.
Let's hope I don't freeze. I agree. I guess pretty much everybody says you need to get people out, and so that the people that were here and grew up here and live here now, and I'm one of those, to meet the new people. I mean, I watch out my window and I see runners and walkers, and I used to know everybody, and now I don't know anybody. And even last week down at the cleanup, I was standing down there and I walked into a group and I knew nobody in the group, and I felt very awkward. Even though you're on council and you know a lot of people, that doesn't mean that you still don't have that, you know, that feeling of awkwardness when there's new people around and you don't know anybody and you don't know what to say. So, you know, it's going to be hard to get the elderly people out, but I think if some of us, like myself, would say, hey, come on, you know, talk to them. We see them in church, we see them around. Even if they need a ride up, give them a ride to the park if there's going to be some music, because they all used to come to Guy Suda Days. They got there one way or another because there was music every night. And even if they just sat and listened to the music, you know, they were there. So
That's time. Thank you. And last on this question, Mr. Pecze.
Yeah, so I, unfortunately, you know, COVID kind of put the nix on all the outdoor fun and everybody getting together. And so hopefully once, you know, everybody gets vaccinated, we can get back to semi-normal, and maybe we can get Greg Damian to get open streets running again. And I mean, the gym's up and running still. Hopefully we can pack some more people in there for some different things. Unfortunately, it's hard to get the older generation to mingle with the new generation because everybody's got different ideas. People come from different lives and backgrounds, and it's hard to get everybody to mix. But like I said, I mean, if we can, once we can get everybody back together, hopefully we can start pushing some people together to get some conversation going and get people involved.
Great, thank you. This next question is going to start with Mr. Truman and work its way around. And it has to do with drugs and addiction. This comes from the form submission. For years, a heroin dealer lived across the street from the individual who submitted the question, and states that after multiple complaints that went unanswered, they gave up reporting the person, and ultimately the person died from an overdose. The matter cannot be ignored, and it's causing a lot of good people to leave the borough of Sharpsburg. What is your plan to tackle the drug issues within the borough?
Well, I acknowledge this is a problem, and it's certainly not the first time I've heard something like this. I would encourage those that are disheartened by the perceived lack of action to keep up. Don't let off the gas. With the new law enforcement assisted diversion pilot that we voted on recently. The police should have ancillary services, supplementary services at their behest, and we'll be able to better support those types of things because they will have the resources on their hip to point them to. That is where I would go with that right now.
Thank you. It's a difficult question to answer. Ms. Ishman, your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that happened. That's really tragic, and it's an unfortunate thing for anyone to have to go through to lose a neighbor to drugs. I would say that the first place we can start is by making counseling services and support more widely known. There's churches in town that offer NA and AA meeting spaces. We can help publicize those on the borough website. And those, faith communities also offer assistance beyond that and connections to mental health professionals and things like that. And even if we're not directly responsible as the borough, we can help connect individuals to the right places. And I agree with what Brad said. It's unfortunate if you don't get the response that is desired the first time, but keep reaching out, try new people, escalate. I know that, my inbox and phone will always be open.
Thank you. Mr. Kozera, same question.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have one resource right here in Sharpsburg is the addiction recovery ministry with Father Mike right at Madonna's. I mean, we could reach out to him and find out what we can do to help these other people. I mean, it's right here in Sharpsburg. It's almost in the middle of Sharpsburg. We could start with him and maybe get a small committee of people together, residents, people that have recovered from it. I'm in a lot of these houses. I'm usually one of the first ones there helping, starting CPR, hitting Narcan. And I still see these people in the street and I ask them personally, hey, how you doing? Do you need anything? And Father Mike is there. I guide them towards Father Mike. I ask them whatever else they need. Our own cops are wonderful at talking to these people and giving them the help they need. So yeah, let's use the resources that we have here and also branch out if Father Mike's not available.
Thank you. Ms. Pastor, same question.
This is a hard one, especially because we all probably know somebody who has, had an overdose, who is, and you're at a loss at what you can do for them. I agree with Brian. Father Mike is there with the addiction recovery program. He's always on Facebook doing talks. You certainly could meet with him privately if they needed to. I know that our police are working very hard to keep drugs off our streets, but unfortunately, and I think this is in every other community, you get rid of one drug dealer, another one comes back. It's just a revolving door. They know they can make money because there's people here that are going to buy it. And they try very hard, but I think it's difficult to catch them. They're very, if anybody has witnessed it on the streets, they can be very sneaky. They know how to do it so that people can't tell what they're doing or what, so I don't know. I think it's just something we have to keep trying to I'm finished.
All right, thanks. Let's see, Mr. Pecze, same question.
Yeah, like everybody else said, I mean, the drug problem in town, I mean, it's another one of those, it's a problem. But I mean, I'm going to go back to the, we'll call it the old adage, the slogan, if you see something, say something. My day job, I work for Allegheny County 911. Call 911. If you call 911, the police have to respond. They don't have a choice. It's mandatory. And that's the other thing. I mean, it's not just here. It's Aspinwall. It's O'Hara. It's everywhere across the entire county. I see it every day. like Brian, I'm there, whether it's with the fire department or you're calling in and I want to, I'm answering the phone. It is. I mean, like Karen said, they come here because they know they can find it here. The police can only do so much. There's only 2 officers on a time, sometimes only 1. But I mean, like I said, again, it is, if you see something, say something, call 911, report it. Something will get done about it. It has to.
Thank you. Ms. Portis, same question.
We all are pretty much in line of, supporting existing programs, supporting our police. The drug issue, it affects, family and friends. It's very sad, but, we could work on solutions on how, we can expand the services and help.
Thank you. And last response on this is Ms. Tongarm.
Thank you. This is a terrific question. I see this as 2 parts. One, we're looking at resources for enforcement, enforcement of the drug policies of drug-related crime, et cetera. And then we're also looking at help for the addicted, right? Addiction is a real issue. And these 2 things go hand in hand. So from my perspective, I would see this as providing the necessary resources to our law enforcement. As Taylor said, there's only 2 officers on at a time. And oftentimes, calling the police isn't always the most helpful solution to a situation that is occurring. So providing extended resources for law enforcement and supporting the addicted, support services outside of just the one resource we all mentioned, tapping into State Representative Inamorado's office, Ken Aqualine. He's very passionate about these issues and absolutely could provide some help. I would propose a tri-borough task force to affect this issue between all of the boroughs, because as we mentioned, this is an issue for all boroughs. So a task force put together to work together with Etna and Millvale and Aspinwall to tackle the addiction issues and tackle the drug enforcement issues.
Thank you. And unfortunately, I have 7:52 as my time. So while there are so very many other questions that I wish we could ask tonight and other topics to cover, this is about all the time that we have. So now each of you will have 1 minute, 30 seconds to tell voters why they should choose you in the voting booth on Tuesday, May 18th in the primary election. Candidates, this is your final pitch to voters. We will be going in reverse alphabetical order this time. Since we started our introductions with Ms. Ishman, we will start our final pitch with Mr. Truman and work around. So go ahead, Mr. Truman, your final pitch. Why should voters pick you on election day?
Sure. First of all, I have been on council for a year. That experience is certainly worth at least something. My business experience is both in civil engineering, and that lends itself incredibly well to the Riverfront 47 project. That development is literally civil engineering in one single project. As a business analyst, I am a kind of, I've been trained to be a careful listener and a critical thinker. And finally, my 2 cultural equality issues, it's well, frankly, it is equality and inclusion. That is a general lens through which I try to view most things to the extent that it is applicable. I think that those are the basic things that everyone is rightfully deserving of. And I think that that is vitally important, equality and inclusion for a healthy community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tongarm, your final pitch.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks again for putting this together. I would ask that any of the remaining questions that were asked by the community that were not answered, please be emailed to at least me. I can't speak for everybody else, but I would be happy to provide written responses to those questions. And if anybody else would like to reach out and their question was not answered tonight, please reach out. More than happy to meet with folks and discuss concerns. I think I would love the opportunity to serve this community. I love this community. I'm raising 3 kids here. And I want this to be a town that they can be proud of. I know I'm proud to live here. And everyone I've talked to, everyone from new renter to 50-year resident loves this town. I have a love for this town, and I think that we have way more in common than we have differences. 100%. We need to find those opportunities to connect, and I want to work to do that. I want to be a person that connects people. I will always listen. I'm an attorney by trade, real estate and environmental, and I am trained to listen. I will listen to concerns, and I will do everything I can within the power bestowed upon council to advocate and fight for what the community needs and what the community wants. So if you want somebody who is always going to listen, that will 100% be me. I want this town to be a town that everyone is proud of, and Sharpsburg is for everyone. And I want to keep it that way, even if it always has been.
Thank you. Ms. Portis, your final pitch to voters.
I would like to represent everyone in the borough fairly and equally. That is definitely my ultimate goal. I am raising my children as fifth generation Sharpsburg residents. We absolutely love it here. It would be such, a great privilege to be able to serve this borough. It's so rich in history, diversity, and community involvement. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pecze, why should voters choose you?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it short and simple. Pretty much, I'd like to continue to serve the borough. I've been serving the borough for about 8 years now. Like Carrie, my day job is literally to listen to people's problems and take action and get them the help they need. So like I said, I just want to continue to help the borough keep going in a direction that works for everybody, so that Sharpsburg, everybody realize that Sharpsburg is, and always will be for everybody. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pastor.
So, I'm in my 12th year on council. I'm the borough's representative on the North Hills Council of Governments. I've been a firefighter for 10 years and chair of the Public Safety Committee for 8 years. I'm a mass selector and I serve on the pastoral council at St. Juan Diogo Church, soon to be a community of merged churches, whose new name is yet to be announced. I'm also a member of the American Legion Post 106 Ladies Auxiliary. I truly do love serving my community. And no matter where people relocate, a piece of their hometown always remains in their heart. For someone like me, who was born and raised in Sharpsburg, I have a built-in love for the town that continually drives me to somehow, some way make it better. I've found that being on council offers me this opportunity quite often. As a council person, please know that my decisions are never based upon what I make, upon what I can make better for me, but for what I can do to help my town. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kozera.
I bring my experience of another community, understanding the development. I was part of another development upriver. I enjoy serving the community. Always have, always will. I'm a team player. I understand and respect other people's views and opinions. Whether it goes my way or not, it ends right there. If it doesn't happen my way, hey, let's talk about it and move on, move forward. We need to build a better community. The community needs to start trusting one another and each other. And we need to start showing that as council, that we work together as a team, and hopefully that branches out within the community. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Ms. Ishman.
Yes, thank you. This has been wonderful tonight. Thanks again to the library for hosting this event. I am humbly asking for your vote May 18th and hopefully again in the fall as well. I am a team player that wants to put in the work here to help Sharpsburg. It'll take a lot of research and effort to get our residents results. I'm open-minded, and I know there are two sides to every story. No matter who wins the election in the primary and the fall, if I'm elected, I will work with them. Everyone here brings something valuable to the table. And if I don't get elected, I'm still going to show up and do my best to help Sharpsburg. Hopefully my answers tonight demonstrate and ability to fact find, figure out what the problem is, and hear from our residents. I'll bring my work experience and my time spent in Sharpsburg to advocate for what the town needs. If I am elected, I'll spend the next 2 years trying to earn that trust that you gave me, and I'm confident that we can do this together. So thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank all of the candidates who participated this evening: Sarah Ishman, Brian Kozera, Karen Pastor, Taylor Pecze, Kayla Portis, Carrie Tongarm, and Brad Truman. I also want to thank my colleague Erin Thompson for being our timekeeper tonight. And finally, thank you to the residents of Sharpsburg, whether you submitted a question or are watching tonight or will be at a later date. Remember to vote on Tuesday, May 18th. Good night and good luck to all of our candidates.